Hey everybody, it's Betsy from Story Drawing Skills. As you may know, I saw this video called You Should Make a Webcomic by Super Death Show, and it made me decide that I needed to make a webcomic. So I decided to make 100 panels of webcomic from scratch in 6 months from July to December 2017. Yeah, I failed. So now I'm persevering and I'm just altering my goal a little bit to finish a webcomic. And maybe not in the 6 months, but maybe while I'm working my 2 part-time jobs and hopefully finish by the end of 2018. So this week, more like this month, I feel like I only get these videos up every once a month. The kind of theme I'm going to talk about is a line from a cartoon back in the 90s, and it says, "It is not the choice, but the choosing that matters." And it was said by King Cryos, this guy, if you remember watching War Planets, Shadow Raiders, it was that guy who said this line. And I'm amazed that it stuck with me so long after this cartoon has ended. But it really did resonate with me that it's not the choice, it's the choosing that matters. And the reason this relates to my webcomic is because I've had a really difficult time trying to decide another story point. And you can even see that I'm not actually working on panels for this video. I'm just doing a model sheet, or actually not even drawing a model sheet. I'm just taking a sketch from my sketchbook that I did of Kess and just kind of putting together a kind of a half-baked model sheet so that I won't have to try to hunt down her colors and drawing things. All my files are all over the place. So I felt like, yeah, let's just condense these down and I can talk about something and upload and you guys will know that I'm still going. I haven't given up yet. Okay, so back to what I was saying. I'm having a really hard time deciding what to do with the remaining panels. I think I got up to 27 panels. So that's what, 73 left to go. So I have, quite a bit of panels left, and I wrote out some story beats on where I thought I wanted the story to go. And I just felt that, like, down in my gut that I need to explain what is going on, like in some detail. And this is called exposition. For those of you who are writers and study this stuff, you'll know what I'm talking about. Is where we have to like pause what's actually going on right now and back up and just explain things to the audience. And this is where I have to say, okay, there are 3 types of magic in this world, and they have a rock, paper, scissors relationship with one another. So one type of magic beats the other. And if these 3 magics are ever at an imbalance, then natural disasters happen, kind of like you need a certain situation for a tornado to happen, or a hurricane, or a volcano to erupt. I'm going to try to make it along those same lines, that if these magics get kind of out of whack, then weird magical things happen, like a magical explosion type deal. So I have to explain all of this to the audience. I have to explain what these 3 are doing, and I have to explain like how and why they're doing it. Like, they're not just 3 random people that got together and said, hey, let's go fix a barrier. They were obviously forced together, because I've already hinted at that between Clarice and Kess, saying like, what were the odds that we'd get stuck with her? So you know that somebody else put these 3 together, but you don't know who. And I kind of figure in that readers would want to know, or need to know, what's kind of going on here before I do the big battle with the rock monster. Because now I'm thinking that I don't actually have as much time / space / panels as I probably need to do a really full-fledged story. Like, I think in my mind this is, a feature-length film, and in reality I have the space of like an 11-minute cartoon, you know what I mean? So it's just like really different in, your mind, where you have infinite time and infinite space and infinite resources versus what you actually have. So now that I'm thinking this is really super short, my big choice was whether or not to include this exposition and explanation of how the magics work, because when I plotted it out in the script, it takes me all the way to panel like 60, meaning I only have 40 left for them to like beat the monster. And then something that I was including in the exposition was a little hint to the audience that Kess and Clarice are kind of on the wrong side of the law, and this is basically their community service to kind of work off their sins, okay, against the crown or whatever. So then if I hint at that and I make that choice, I need to follow through with it, because I feel like as a storyteller, and pretty much in any like just basic creative writing advice, they say if you show a gun in one scene, somebody better fire it before the end of Act 2. It's something like that. There's some kind of quote, meaning that whatever you set up, follow through with it, because otherwise your audience is going to get mad that you're showing them things or telling them things, but then you're not going to follow through with it, and it just gets frustrating. So actually, I think I mentioned that last video too, where my sister was saying like if they didn't actually defeat the rock monster, then she feels like she's been conned out of the story that she signed up for. Like she wants to see them defeat this guy. And so my original choice of having them not defeat it, she was saying just really frustrated her as a reader. So, big lesson right there. If you're going to start something, you got to finish it. So that was one of the like second choice that I was really wrestling with. Is it the right choice to tell the audience about Kess and Clarice being on the wrong side of the law if I don't have enough space to actually follow through with it? And that's what I've been kind of going over the last, what has it been, 3 or 4 weeks? And so I have to come back to that quote and not stress about it so much, and just remember that it's not about the choice, it's the choosing. So even if I pick the wrong choice and I run out of room before I'm able to tell everybody's backstory, then so be it. I have to remember that this was an actual just exercise for me to make a webcomic and finish it. That's my only real criteria of success, is to finish it. So I'm going to try my bestest to not get caught up in trying to do, what is the right choice. It's difficult, because I have made so many choices about this webcomic up to this point that have come back to bite me. And so, and with every decision I have made that turns out to steer me in a completely opposite direction, I keep feeling like, oh man, I have to avoid that in the future. And if you feel like that too, I gotta say, we need some help to try to turn that around, because that really is the natural process. Around the time that I'm shooting this video, or voicing over this video, Incredibles 2 has recently come out. And I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but in my theater at the beginning, I don't know if this is nationwide or not, there was a tiny little snippet of Brad Bird and some of the cast from Incredibles 2 talking about that, it took 14 years to make the sequel to Incredibles, and it's just because it takes so much work, because you're writing a story and then you're changing the story and then you're drawing and then you're changing the story again. And it was just another reminder that you will have to course correct. If we take a sailing analogy, I've never been on a sailboat, by the way, but this feels like it could work as an explanatory tool, that you have to start sailing before you can figure out how to course correct and how to, get to where you're going. Because you may think that on the map it's just, it's a straight line from, California to Hawaii or something like that. And then when you start sailing, you find out, no, it's not, because you've got winds blowing, you've got currents, you've got, food supply issues. I don't know, whatever it is, you're going to have to change what you originally thought you were going to do. And that is ever so true in character design, in story making, in webcomic making. you have to just be brave and make a choice. And it may be that later down the road, you have to make another choice to change it. But if you just sit on your hands, just, trying to decide, and you never take the action to choose, then nothing's ever going to get done. So try to learn from my mistakes here, where that's what I did. I just couldn't bring myself to commit to a choice, and a whole month went by that I didn't draw my webcomic. And remember, I want to try to get this done by 2018, and it's getting down to where I'm going to have to start drawing a panel every day again if I'm going to, finish. Well, not quite. I could do it in, 2.5 months or something if I did a panel every day, but we know that's not going to happen. So again, you gotta just be brave and make a choice, because it's not the choice that matters. It's the act of choosing. You gotta choose and go forward, and then you can always adjust as you go. So that's about it for this video and this rambling. I just wanted to share a little bit again of what I've learned, of my mistakes, and then maybe when I get myself in this problem again, I can rewatch this video and just be like, oh yeah, I remember now. I wasn't supposed to get so caught up in the choices. So that's it for this time, and I'll see you guys hopefully in a week or so.